Hey everybody, it's Elias Mastrogiannis here, and this is the Distillery Nation Podcast, where insightful business advice collide with craft distillery interviews. Look no further, as you found the podcast you need to listen for craft distilling. Hey Distillery Nation, welcome to another month and another episode. On this episode, we talked to Tami from Seattle Distilling, and Tami talked about the origin of Seattle Distilling. It has a really cool story on how this started, and she talked about building a community and how important it is to their business, raising a family and, starting small and making some amazing products. We also worked with Tami to get a special promo code for the listeners. So if you head over to seattledistilling.com and enter promo code Distillery Nation, all one word, you can receive 10% off your order. So please check them out. I hope you enjoy this interview, and we'll talk soon. Hello and welcome to episode 09 of the Distillery Nation Podcast. We are very honored to introduce today's guest, Tami Brockway Joyce. Tami is the CEO behind Seattle Distilling here in Vashon Island, located here in Washington, and the mind behind Seattle Distilling Vodka, Gin, and Whiskey. Tami, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Tami, can you take a moment, fill in the blanks, and provide a little bit glimpse into your personal life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am married to Paco Joyce, who happens to be our distiller here at Seattle Distilling. We live on Vashon Island with our two kids out in the forest, and we have been interested in spirits and making things, brewing, and distilling for a long time. Paco longer than me. And he kind of brought me into this world of fermenting and distilling. And I've always been a big cook and have loved adding this kind of interesting aspect to what I can do in the kitchen. It's been really fun.
Very nice. Well, can you tell us a little bit about the distillery origin? Like, it looks like it's a family business, right? You guys are out in Vashon Island, but what made you guys actually kind of begin this journey together?
Yeah, it's a good story. We began this really maybe 6 years ago. This idea started to become something real. Paco grew up hearing stories from his uncles. They grew up in Butte, Montana. His mom is one of, I think it's 13 kids. It's a lot of kids.
Wow,
Montana,
okay.
where there's not a whole lot to do. Their dad, Paco's grandpa, Red, was a welder and had a welding shop out in the back. And so the boys experimented with building stills because they had access to it. And he grew up hearing these funny stories about the trouble they would get into and how one year when times were tough, the boys got jobs mowing the neighborhood lawns and then distilled the lawn clippings.
Oh, wow.
Which they report is not delicious, but is possible. So he grew up hearing all these stories. He's always been a tinkerer, a home brewer, and a home winemaker, and just got really curious. And so he started tinkering in the garage, building stills, probably about 25 years ago now.
Wow.
So he's always had the bug, always been really interested in it, and lived in Italy for a while and fell in love with limoncello and always wanted to create his own special limoncello. And then probably about 6 years ago, we thought, why don't we do this? Like, why don't we come out of the basement and do this? And so we started looking into it and working on some recipes and plans. And, he was in his mind designing the still he would build. And at the same time, we happened to meet some friends who just moved to Vashon Island. They joined our preschool, and I saw their name on the preschool roster, little co-op here on the island. And his email was Vashon@Seattle Distilling. And we were both like, what? Who is this guy? So we go to the website, and they had these 3 beautiful copper stills in their photo, but not much else going on in the website yet. It was obviously pretty new. So not 2 days later, I happened to meet Ishan's wife, Amanda. at a gluten-free baking club of all things. We are so very Vashon. So I said, oh my God, you're Amanda. I've been dying to meet you. You know, we're starting a distillery and I know you're starting a distillery. And I said, your stills are so beautiful. We were looking at your website and she said, oh, those aren't real. That's just stock photography. It's just a placeholder. We really are looking for a distiller. She said, we have a really good business plan and my husband knows how to brew, but we're looking for someone who knows how to distill. And I said, well, I think our husbands need to meet.
We have a guy.
Yeah, so they met, and within 3 days, they were in business together. And so it's become a family affair. Ishan has recently moved on to do amazing new things with his life. So he has left the company, and it's now Paco and I, and we're thrilled. We're having a really good time, and it's been really fun to take this little tinkerer's hobby into the real world.
Yeah, it seems like it was a natural progression for both of you guys, and then the fact that you can meet somebody with the same interest to help get started. So that's really important.
It was great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of like the worst distillery moment, even, you know, going back in those early days or even nowadays, and tell us the story about that?
I'll tell you, there are two stories that come to mind, but one is really recent. So I'll tell you this story. We love to host events on the island for the community. That's one of the reasons we are Seattle Distilling, but we're on Vashon Island. This is a community that we love and have been here for a while. And my grandparents lived on the island. My dad grew up here. I didn't grow up here. So I always knew that I would someday land on Vashon. So I was super glad 11 years ago when Paco decided he was ready to come out to the country with me, and we moved out to the island. So we were hosting a cider tasting just last month here on the island. We have some amazing cideries here on the island. We've got Dragon's Head cider. We've got Nashi Orchards, which makes a phenomenal perry. We've got Irvine's vintage cider made by Vashon Winery that's delicious. So we've done this a couple of years now as part of this ongoing Cider Fest event that's been happening for years. So we host the hard cider tasting. And this year we are getting ready for it on the stormiest day we've had probably all year. The wind was blowing, and it's an outdoor event because we are in this itty bitty little log cabin. So when we have events, they're outside. So we're at the last minute trying to find a tent to borrow. So we got a tent, and the tent is caving in, and the wind is blowing it down as soon as it gets up. And we finally think we have the tent sorted out, and the power goes out. So we're lighting gas lanterns and handing them out to all the cideries that were with us and trying to get everything fixed. And at the very last minute, the rain and wind stopped. The power came back on. And we were like, God, is anybody going to come to this? Is anybody going to go out of the house? And like 300 people show up. The island came out and drank cider and listened to great island music and had an awesome time. But it was a harrowing moment. I thought, okay, we got to just call this. But nope, we still had the party. It was awesome.
Nice. The lesson there, stick to it, and then, good things happen.
Yeah, stick to it. Yeah. I kept putting on Facebook, hey, storm's not going to stop us. Come on out.
Nice. That was actually a couple of weeks ago, right? If I'm correct. Right. Yeah, I can. We're in the same area, so excellent. So we talked about the distillery and the origin and kind of what pushed you guys to actually go through it. And I know you guys are actually are using local ingredients as much as you can. So can you talk a little bit about that specific decision, which I think is really important, versus buying like industrial alcohol and then making your stuff?
Yeah,
you guys decided to go a different direction.
We did, and part of it was naivete. I mean, we came into this thinking naively that craft distilling meant you made it all from scratch. And it wasn't really until we were a little ways in and we thought, oh, I get it. People are buying neutral grain spirits and distilling them or filtering them or making some and mixing it with stuff they're buying. And we decided that we weren't going to go that route. We decided that we found that we got the very best quality, we got the very best flavor by doing it completely from scratch, by using the very best ingredients we could find. We're so lucky to live in Washington where we have all this fantastic grain available to us. So we decided early on, let's use it. Let's use this amazing grain. Let's use it in a really high quality process that only puts the hearts of the hearts in the bottle so that we don't have to filter out the taste of this grain. So our spirits are flavorful because of that. Our vodka in particular is noteworthy because it's not like an American style neutral flavorless vodka. It's more an old world Eastern European style. You taste the characteristics of the grain that it came from. And I think the most remarkable thing about this method is that you get body. You know, most vodkas are very watery on the tongue, even they're very thin. Ours has a butteriness to it because this grain is full of amazing oils that we're not filtering out. So you really get a different experience and a different mouthfeel than we're accustomed to with spirits. And it adds a lot to a cocktail for that reason. And it's a cleaner spirit. So I'm really sensitive to booze. I get super bad headaches. And I don't when I drink grain to glass. So for me, selfishly, I love it because I can have 2 drinks and not feel terrible the next day. It makes a big difference.
That's actually, that's a very good, important point that, you can actually have a few drinks and not feel like a truck running you over the next day. So
it's really remarkable, the difference. And I really notice it when I go to a bar and I order just a well drink, and I will end up with a headache within an hour or two. And I love that I don't have to experience that with the grain to glass, well-made stuff.
Excellent. So Tami, let's move into the distiller round. So a few rapid questions to get a little bit more insight about Seattle Distilling and yourself as well. Yeah. So what is your biggest strength as a distiller/owner?
I actually think our biggest strength is that we stick to our values of grain to glass and a super high quality spirit, even though it's going to cost more and it's going to be harder for us to, pay ourselves. We're sticking to that philosophy. I think that is one of our biggest strengths, sticking to that identity.
Excellent. What is the biggest weakness?
Well, I mean, ultimately our biggest weakness is that we do everything, we do the fabrication, the plumbing, the cleaning, the sales, like we do the whole thing on our own. We have, so it is exhausting. We have an amazing assistant distiller, Finn, who's so great, and we're so lucky to have him. And we have a couple people who help us out in the tasting room on the weekends, which is really nice, so we can have a little time with the family. But trying to get everything done mostly on your own is tough. But it's the way that we're getting it done by the bootstraps. So that's how we got to do it.
Excellent. And I'm assuming, as you mentioned, you guys are bootstrapped, and then you are guys working full time into the distillery as well. Yeah.
So Paco works the day job still. So he's got 2 full-time jobs, which makes him a very busy, tired man. But the distilling work is exciting and fun. So, it keeps you fueled up. And I work full time for the distillery as well. And so, a lot of energy going into it, but we really feel like we're investing in something amazing that we're excited to do. We're excited to do.
No, definitely. Yeah. The distillery, I think, releases the creativity. And, that, as you said, it fuels you up. So that's
totally. Yep.
Totally agree. What is the one thing that has you excited right now?
I get really excited personally about our little seasonal releases, our little small batch stuff. We have, for the second summer in a row, done a little strawberry infused vodka with really ripe local strawberries at the peak of sweetness. We soak them in the spirits, and it pulls out all the color and all the sweet strawberry flavor, but it's still nice and dry. We don't add any sweeteners. So it's not one of those sort of, candy flavored vodkas. It's really nice and dry. I love that kind of stuff because it's a lot of fun to work on the recipes and tinker. We're working on a blackberry liqueur that will probably come out next fall. We're we're aging a Calvados right now made from Dragon's Head cider that is tasting so fantastic. It's 2 years in the barrel now. Next year it will be 3, and I think that's when we'll release it. That stuff to me is just super fun. We're experimenting with different whiskey recipes and pulling stuff out and seeing what we like. I really love that part of it.
Yeah, the Calvados sounds really, really delicious already. So, yeah, with that, what is your favorite drink?
You know what? My favorite drink right now is a Revolver, a twist on the old Revolver recipe. So it's 1 part our coffee liqueur, which is awesome, really coffee forward, not too sweet, made with coffee roasted right next door to us at the Vashon Island Coffee Roastery, where Seattle's best coffee started. They make amazing coffee. So our coffee liqueur is based on that. I use 1 part that, 1 part our single malt Irish style whiskey. And then typically in a Revolver has a dash of orange bitters, but I've been using Scrappy's black lemon bitters, and it's so good. It's just like the perfect kick for after dinner. It's my favorite.
Very nice. What is the one thing you wish you could have done sooner? And that could be with a distillery or, marketing or starting something new.
I think the one thing that I wish, I do a lot of the sales side of things, so that's, the angle I come at it from. I wish we had known as we got into it exactly what sales was going to take. We sort of believed we could make really good spirits and get on with the distributor and they'd take care of sales. And it turns out, we have to drive that a lot more than we expected. And it took us a little while to learn that lesson. So I wish we'd learned that lesson a little bit sooner.
Excellent. Okay, that's good advice. What type of still? Obviously, brand. I think, as you said, it was hand built. Are you guys using at the distillery? In what capacity?
Yeah, it's a handmade home still, and it's pretty big. It's got a 320 gallon capacity.
Oh, nice.
The base of it is an old steam kettle. It was built in 1955, and it was part of a Texas public school cafeteria. So I think it made a lot of mac and cheese in its day. And we bought it, and it graduated to booze. So we built the rest of it out of sheet metal, out of copper on the top of that. So it's a combination pot still, and then it's got 2 columns and also a gin column. So it's super versatile. It's nice. Big, which we wanted to build a big enough still that we had a lot of room to grow. And it's nice that it does give us a lot of room to grow. We still have room to grow with it.
Excellent. What was holding you back from starting the distillery?
I think what has always held us back is Paco and I are both kind of, and particularly Paco, very responsible oldest kids, and he in particular felt like he had to support our family. So he stuck at the day job for many years, believing that was a responsible thing to do. And, it has been really nice to see him follow his passion a little bit, even though it means he's got 2 full-time jobs right now. It's been really cool to see him open up to that possibility. And we're definitely moving in a direction where distilling will get to be the first and only job. So that's coming soon.
Very nice. Yeah. And I'll look forward to that as well. So yeah. What is the best advice you ever received?
Yeah. You know what? I think, don't panic are the words we try to live by. Thank you, Douglas Adams. Just trying to stay calm and stay grounded so we can problem solve and move forward.
Nice. Very cool. Can you share one personal habit that contributes to your success?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, I think I'm very action oriented, and sometimes that bites me in the butt, but it does contribute to my success, because if I have an idea or I know something that needs to be done, I just do it.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, which is why sometimes it bites me in the butt. But I go, and that has definitely helped keep us.
Well, that's actually really good, because you learn that way too,
yeah.
And gives you the opportunity to, as you said, get stuff done and move to the next one. Excellent. Can you share one internet resource like Evernote that you can share with our listeners, and something that you guys use at a distillery or for marketing?
Yeah, we use Google Docs all the time, and Google Apps. So we live in it. I actually have a Chromebook. It's all I use is Google Apps and Google Docs, Google Drive. We make forms that build our databases for logging and debonding and pretty much everything we do. So we couldn't live without it. I really like it. It's great for a small business, and it allows us to be in communication and live wherever we are.
Love it too as well, yeah. What is one book that you can recommend to Distillery Nation, and why?
You know what? I loved The Drunken Botanist, all about botanicals and the power of botanicals. I think that's really fun, and it kind of encouraged us to get out there and showcase what's growing in our region. You know, we're always thinking of new ideas, and we've been tinkering with something that really features a lot of the botanicals. Our gin uses lavender grown here on Vashon Island, as well as elderberry and hazelnut, some really Northwest ingredients. So I love thinking about the botanicals and the ingredients that we have here in our little home region.
No, excellent. And that gives you the ability to not copy somebody else, but be a little bit unique as well.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
Excellent, Tami. So before we close, can you tell us one last piece of parting guidance and the best way to connect with you and Seattle Distilling?
Yeah. I guess my parting guidance is to reach out to your community, to connect with the people around you. And we've found that we're just amazed by the support and the connection and the community that's out there. You know, we have local farmers that are our neighbors who we get ingredients from, and who then use our spent mash to feed pigs and cows and ducks and geese. And they bring us eggs and sausages, and it's like this great cycle. You know, because we built our still by ourselves, we had some artisan metal workers who came and helped us with the finishing welds, and really made things gorgeous. A good friend of ours, John Kuzma, who also lives on the island, is a patina artist, came and did the patina on our still, on the copper. It's you know, people are really why we do this, because we love having an opportunity to meet and connect with people. They're the biggest part of this story to us. So that's my guidance. And I'd say the best way to connect with us, we have a website, seattledistilling.com. I am often on Instagram at Seattle Distills, and Twitter and Facebook. You can find us, Pinterest. We're out there. And,
excellent. Yeah, we'll definitely link the site and the Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. So to the show notes. Well, Tami, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Distillery Nation. If you like what you heard today, please visit distillery.nation.com to view all of today's show notes, plus any of the previous ones. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Greek Distillery. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.